morning we're going to be looking at a cutoff saw. The cutoff saw is used for cross-cutting stock to length. It's to cut both ends. This end has been cut on the Radel arm saw, but both of these ends need to be cut to be square. And we're going to get it square because the fence that is right here is set 90 degrees to the blade. The blade is in a box down below. When you activate it with the palm starts that you see here, the blade comes up out of the box as it's moving with the big metal hold down coming down with air to hold it down and cutting the wood off. The maximum width of the stock that it can be is 11 inches. Over 11 inches, the blade does not have enough capacity to cut on it. We also have a Tiger scale system, which is a programmable pusher foot. Want to show them the pusher foot, please? And the pusher foot moves by changing the numerical value on the Tiger stop system. And it's as simple as programming your desired length. If we want 45, we push 4 or 5 on it and then press the go button and the pusher foot will move to that desired distance. Okay. That distance is the distance from the edge of the blade, the edge of this blade on this side to here. That's 45 inches exactly. Okay, if we want a fraction, if you want a fraction on the numerical keypad, for instance, if you wanted 23 and you don't have to push clear to get this out, you need to just push 23 space 1/2 and then push your go button. And the digital readout will be 23.5. So you can do fractions and you can do whole numbers. And once you start programming, if you make a mistake, let's say you wanted 35 and you got to put space and you put 1/16, but you meant to be 1/8, and you can use the clear button and you can backspace it and it will clear each value until you can redo it here like this. Why are we to get the, let's see, need a lie around me. It's 35 space 1/8. Let's go to that. Okay, let's try it. Let's go ahead and we'll go to 45 space 1/8. And then we want to clear it, so we get clear, 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 and then we can put whatever value. If we wanted 3/4, 3/4, and now it's corrected. And press go to go to the value. Okay? What it eliminates, obviously, is errors in moving any kind of scale. It's automatic, it's quick, it makes an accurate square cut. It's easier to use than the miter gauge on the table saw. So let's learn how to use it. First of all, to cut a subtop. Our subtop is 4 by 11.5 inches. We need to cut both ends. So we take the first end, put it up against it, and span over the hole. You want to go over the hole. Can you see that right there? We do not want it in the middle. You want it across, and you don't want it short. So you got to cut it enough, but not so much that you cut off a whole inch, because you only have an inch extra in length. With your eye protection on, you then turn on the power, and you're going to have to use these palms to be able to do the on-off switch is right here. Turn that on and turn it off here, and you have to activate the motor before activating the palm, because if you activate the palm, the thing will cycle without the power to the blade. And I'm going to demonstrate that now. So what that did is that took the blade and brought it up when it wasn't moving. And if you had your workpiece in, that's going to ram the saw blade into the non-moving, the non-moving blade into the bottom of the wood. And that could blow off the teeth. So we don't ever want to activate it without having the power on. Right? we're going to take our workpiece, place it against the foot here, bring it in, span across. We want to use the magnet to help hold it by pushing it in tight, because the wind tends to make it float. Turn the power on. Stand right here, and I'm going to stand you can see it like that. You stand right here. Two hands on at exactly the same time, pressing in and holding in. Will not cycle again, no matter how long I hold on to this. Let it go. Turn it off. Remove the magnet. Remove the workpiece. The strap here. Blown out with compressed air. And then you can throw that on the ground. Okay, a word of caution about this compressed air. The sign says right here that you are not to use compressed air to clean up with, that there is danger, and that your penalty will be 2-day suspension. This air nozzle has 120 pounds of compressed air coming out of it. If you get that air directed in the right direction at your arm or your body, you can actually put air into your body. If it gets into your vein, it goes to your heart, it will kill you. I'm sure you all have seen a doctor when they use a syringe. They take a syringe, first of all, take the syringe and they hit it like this to get the bubbles up to the top toward the needle with the needle up, and then they squirt into it, squirting a little bit of the whatever drug they're going to inject you with out the top, so that they know that there is no air whatsoever in that syringe. And they're doing it so they won't kill you. So air is very dangerous. The reason that the hole is in the nozzle right here is that if you get this on against your skin, hopefully the air will direct out the sides and it won't get into your body and hurt you. But that is still not reason to use this to clean up with. That also means you do not clean your clothes up with it. You don't clean up your shoes. You don't hold something out and spray it off like your hat. We don't use air whatsoever to clean up with. Okay? We use it only to remove the scrap that's under here. The reason that we don't want to go underneath there is because of the danger, the crushing danger of this heavy metal guard that you see here. If you turn off the air, if the air breaks, this is what's going to happen. It's going to come down and it's going to crush your hand. If you're under there removing a scrap at that point, it's going to crush your fingers. There's a lot of pressure to this. And it's going to be a very loud noise as it goes back up. So it's got a lot of force. You cannot physically pull this up with your hands, it's so heavy. But that's also what's holding the workpiece in place solidly while it's making the cut. All right, we've cut the first end. We now need to cut it to 11.5 inches. So we're going to go 11, space, 1/2, and press go. And we're going to move the magnet out of the way and have the wood out of the way. So there's 11.5. This is the end I cut first. I'm placing that end against the stock over here. And I'm placing the magnet against it. And now I'm going to cut the other end. And here it sets in exactly. If I press one at a time, it's not going to work. You have both hands on it. You can't reach across. You have to have two hands. Turn it off. Now that's my finished set back. I've cut both ends, and now it's at 11.5 inches, and both ends are 90 degrees. Now when you get to a smaller piece, like the lower rail for the door, it's the same procedure, but this is even more critical that you use a magnet, because I think you'll be able to see if I turn this in here and turn this on, that this will float. Okay? Put that up in the camera. Right here. Put the magnet there. Solid. So the need for on smaller pieces to make sure you use the magnet. Procedure is exactly the same. You span over on the first hole. That doesn't give us very much to cut. Push this in, turn it on, make a cut. If you fell down in, if it did, you just Don't have to worry about scrap removal. That's the end I cut, so I turn it like this, and I put the value I want, which is 7, space 3/8, and push go. Very little for this to ride on. Put it into here, put the magnet right against it, push it tight. Make sure that this is tight, that it's not moving around on you. And then cut the other end. Okay, now that's the shortest length that you'll have to cut on the mountain block. So you'll be able to cut all your pieces to length with the cutoff saw. But you got to make sure you use the magnet. That means that this magnet is critical to the performance of this machine. If anyone steals this, we will not work until a new magnet arrives. It takes 6 to 8 weeks, and we'll be in the classroom doing written work. Do not steal this magnet. Everyone needs to have it so that we can cut our pieces. When you have the big long piece, you don't need it, but for most of the cuts on the mounting block, in fact, let's just say, for all cuts on the mounting block, let's use the magnet. That way you'll get in the habit of doing it, and then you'll be sure to have it on these shorter pieces when it's really critical. The cutoff saw can be stopped at any time by hitting the stop button. So for instance, if you program this to 0, you can actually run this pusher foot underneath it where the blade is. And if you see it and you hit it by mistake and it's starting to move and you see value 0, hit the stop button and it will stop the pusher foot from traveling. Because we don't want to run this in underneath the guard here. Very, very safe saw. It forces your hands off at all times. Do not ask anyone to hold the workpiece for you while you make the cut. Use the magnet instead. I don't want anyone's hands in here. And the magnet can do just as good as anyone's hands can hold in terms of holding it. All right, let's go ahead and stop. Okay, this is called a panelized sign.